This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
Precisely 6:15 p.m. is the time. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. News edited by Dulmin Samarasinghe and read by Chandima Virakon. Headlines. Kothalavala Defence University is to provide opportunity to follow higher education for a reasonable fee. Amendments made to 2 state ministries. People around the country welcome the appointment of Mr. Basil Rajapaksa. The second dose of the AstraZeneca vaccine will be given in due course. Another owner of a website arrested in connection with the incident of sexually abusing an underage girl. In news overseas, Thailand's plan to fully reopen in doubt as virus cases spike. In sports news, Japan declares a coronavirus state of emergency. Local stories in detail. General Sir John Kothalavala Defence University draft bill was taken off the debate in Parliament today. Presenting the draft bill, Minister Chamal Rajapaksa said that Kothalavala Defence University not only provides education to military officers but also to foreign students. It has broadened the opportunities to get an education for a bearable price for local and foreign students facing competition in the higher education sector. MP Iran Vikramaratne said that it will establish universities outside university subjects. Therefore, it will not be a solution for students who are expecting to enter universities. He said that it has been set up to meet the need of a military university. Minister Rohita Abegunawardena, taking part in the debate, said the relevant act includes only Sir John Kothalavala Defence University. The management board of the university will include a member of the University Grants Commission and a vice-chancellor. He said that although the opposition criticizes the activities of the army, they perform an immense service amid the pandemic. Minister Sarath Weerasekara said that there are no saboteurs in this university as in other universities. There is no ragging in this university. He said that it will create graduates with a sound personality and leadership qualities. He added that a program on crime and justice is included among the subjects. Amendments have been made to 2 state ministries. The relevant 2 state ministers took oaths today before President Gotabaya Rajapaksa at the Presidential Secretariat. Accordingly, Mr. Sashendra Rajapaksa took oaths as the State Minister for Organic Fertilizer Production Promotion and Supply Regulation and Paddy, Grains, Organic Food, Vegetables, Fruits, Chilies, Onions and Potato Cultivation Promotion, Seed Production and High Technology Agriculture. Mr. Mohan De Silva took oaths as the State Minister for Coast Conservation and Low-Lying Lands Development. Our reports say that people around the country expressed their happiness with the commencement of duties by Mr. Basil Rajapaksa as a minister. Mr. Basil Rajapaksa has worked earlier as a leader who represented people's heartbeat and who was concerned about public welfare. Mr. Rajapaksa implemented many programs in 2005 as an advisor to the Ministry of Nation Building. He implemented a program named National Strength to normalize civilian life of northern and eastern areas destroyed by the war. He took steps to develop infrastructure at 14,000 Gram and Ladari divisions, livelihood development and social values at village level. Facilities were provided to generate income by the people. Rural roads were developed under Gama Naguma program. Many programs, including drinking water facilities, establishing maternity clinics and health centers, were implemented on his advice. Mr. Basil Rajapaksa strengthened the home economy through Divi Naguma program. Army Commander General Shavendra Silva says that it has been confirmed 1.4 million doses of AstraZeneca vaccines will be received by the country. Accordingly, giving Pfizer vaccine as a second dose for those who have been given the AstraZeneca vaccine has been suspended. The owner of another website has been arrested in connection with the case of selling a 15-year-old girl online for sexual exploitation. Police said the arrested website owner has published the advertisement made to sell the girl. The Criminal Investigation Department has made the arrest in the Bathramulla area. Investigations have revealed that at least 4 websites have published the relevant advertisement. A total of 4 individuals connected to 2 of those websites have been arrested so far. General Secretary of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna, MP Sagar Karyavasam, who was appointed as the Deputy Government Whip, received his appointment letter today in Parliament from Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa. Mr. Jayantha Katagoda held the post earlier. MP Sagar Karyavasam has been appointed to the post fell vacant following the resignation of MP Katagoda. Mr. Karyavasam has assumed duties in his post. A discussion was held on converting food waste into organic fertilizer under the patronage of State Minister Sathasivam Vijayanthiran. The State Minister visited the Oats Food Production Company operating in the Mirigama Free Economic Zone today and held talks with officials in this regard. This news comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
People's Bank, celebrating 60 years of empowering the nation.
Continuing with local stories, police spokesman Ajit Rohana today assumed duties as the senior DIG in charge of traffic and crimes at Bathramulla. Accordingly, the Crimes Division, Police Narcotics Bureau, the Traffic Control and Road Safety Division, the Naval and Tourist Division, as well as 11 related divisions will be functioning under Senior DIG Rohana. A fundamental rights petition has been filed in the Supreme Court requesting an order urging the government to implement a program to protect the ocean using not less than 70% of the compensation payment which will be received by the country in connection with the Express Pearl ship incident. The Supreme Court ordered today to hear the petition on the 3rd of next month. The court pointed out the other respondents except the Attorney General have not been issued notices. Counsellor appearing on behalf of the petitioners said that notices could not be sent to respondents due to recent travel restrictions. Environmentalist Dr. Ajantha Pereira and Mr. Jerem Jagadishan have filed the petition. To end the local news, the headlines again. Kotalavala Defence University is to provide opportunity to follow higher education for a reasonable fee. Amendments made to 2 state ministries. People around the country welcome the appointment of Mr. Basil Rajapaksa. The second dose of the AstraZeneca vaccine will be given in due course. Another owner of a website arrested in connection with the incident of sexually abusing an underage girl. That concludes the local news.
Towards a new dimension in innovation, People's Bank, celebrating 60 years of empowering the nation.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Moving on to the main news story, the Ministry of Health says 1,453 coronavirus patients have recovered and been discharged from hospitals and treatment centres. This brings the total number of recoveries in the country to 239,584. Sri Lanka has so far recorded 268,676 cases of COVID-19, while 25,741 patients are currently under medical care. That ends the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Moving on to Watchlight, Sri Lanka Banks Association has launched its revamped dynamic website. The site was launched recently through an on-screen link at a virtual event by the chief guest, Professor W.D. Lakshman, Governor of the Central Bank. The website www.slba.lk is now accessible to the public. The Sri Lanka Banks Association is the industry association for the Sri Lankan banking sector with over 30 member banks operating in Sri Lanka and in several other jurisdictions across the world. That ends Watchlight. Moving on to world news, the headlines. Thailand's plans to fully reopen in doubt as virus cases spike. Police kill 4 after Haiti's president assassinated. Scientists say US-Canada heatwave is virtually impossible without warming. Thailand's plan to reopen the country to foreign tourists in about 100 days has been thrown into doubt as it sees a new spike in COVID cases. Some 7,000 cases and 75 deaths were reported today, a daily record. Thailand had last year been seen as successful in combating the virus, with cases at one point dwindling to single digits. But as a spike in cases linked to a highly infectious Delta strain mean its plans might have to be put on hold. Police say 4 people suspected of assassinating Haiti's president, Lionel Moise, have been killed in a shootout with the security forces. 2 others have been detained, while some remaining suspects are thought to be still at large in the nation's capital, Port-au-Prince. Police Chief Leon Charles said they will be killed or captured. Mr. Moise, aged 53, was fatally shot and his wife was injured when attackers stormed their home early yesterday. Scientists say the searing heat that scorched Western Canada and the US at the end of June was virtually impossible without climate change. In their study, the team of researchers says that the deadly heat wave was a 1 in a 1,000-year event. Scientists say we can expect extreme events such as this to become more common as the world heats up due to climate change. If humans hadn't influenced the climate to the extent that they have, the event would have been 150 times less likely. To end the world news, the headlines again. Thailand's plans to fully reopen in doubt as virus cases spike. Police kill 4 after Haiti's president assassinated. Scientists say US-Canada heatwave is virtually impossible without warming. That concludes world news. Moving on to development news. Minister Douglas Devananda has paid his attention on releasing agricultural lands under the Department of Wildlife and Forest Conservation. The minister pointed out that the government's development programs could be further strengthened by the release of agricultural lands in the northern province. He emphasized this at a meeting yesterday with Wildlife and Forest Minister C.B. Ratnayaka. That ends development news. And on sports news, it's Olympics and hockey. In Olympics, Japan's Prime Minister Yoshihide Suga has declared a coronavirus state of emergency for Tokyo that will run through the city's hosting of the Olympics, as organizers consider banning all spectators from the event. Suga said today that the state of emergency would go in effect on Monday and last until the 22nd of August. This means the Olympics opening on 23rd July and running until the 8th of August will be held entirely under emergency measures. Suga said the state of emergency was needed to prevent a resurgence of the future spread on cases across the country. And in hockey news, the Tampa Bay Lightning celebrated a second consecutive Stanley Cup victory in front of their home fans after beating the Montreal Canadiens 1-0. Rookie Ross Colton's goal on 7 minutes sealed the best-of-7 series 4-1 for Tampa Bay. Lightning captain Steven Stamkos said the win was extra special after last year's event was played inside the NHL's biosecure bubble. That ends sports news.
Contributory deposit of 1,000 rupees from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply. Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money.
On business news, Sri Lankan Airlines will resume weekly flights to the Russian capital Moscow from 30th July. Accordingly, Sri Lanka would commence its flights to Moscow's Domodedovo airport every Friday using an Airbus A330 configured for 269 economy and 28 business class seats. The frequency of operation will be once a week, having a flight time of around 8 hours and 25 minutes. That ends Business News.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money. Contributory deposit of 1,000 rupees from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply.
Economic news, courtesy of
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibility. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
And on economic news, Sri Lanka attracted a total of 1,614 tourists in June, bringing the total number of arrivals for the first half to 16,908. Although the arrivals in June were higher by just 135 visitors when compared with May, it follows the sharp contraction witnessed after the month of April, which is due to the closure of borders and travel restrictions from specific countries such as India and regions such as South Africa and South America. That ends economic news.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibility. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
Weather report was sponsored by
Dialogue, in partnership with the Ministry of Education, introduces Nanasa, a trilingual educational mobile app with video-based lessons for grade 1 to A-levels. Now your child can study with ease on your mobile with no subscription fee.
And finally, on the weather report, the Met Department says showery condition over the southwestern part of the island and the windy condition over the island and the surrounding sea areas are likely to enhance during the next few days. Showers and thundershowers will occur at times in western, Sabragamur, northwestern, southern and central provinces. Heavy showers above 100 millimeters can be expected at some places in central, Sabragamur and western provinces and in Gaul and Matra districts. Showers will occur at several places in the northern province. Showers and thundershowers may occur at a few places in Uva and eastern provinces during the evening or at night. Strong gusty winds up to 60 km per hour are likely at times over western slope of the central hills, and gusty winds up to 50 km per hour at times are likely in the northern, north central and northwestern provinces and in Hambantota and Trincomalee districts. That ends the weather report.
Weather report was sponsored by
Dialogue, in partnership with the Ministry of Education, introduces Nanasa, a trilingual educational mobile app with video-based lessons for grade 1 to A-levels. Now your child can study with ease on your mobile with no subscription fee.
And to conclude this bulletin of news, the headlines again. Kotalavala Defence University is to provide opportunity to follow higher education for a reasonable fee. Amendments made to 2 state ministries. People around the country welcome the appointment of Mr. Basil Rajapaksa. The second dose of the AstraZeneca vaccine will be given in due course. Another owner of a website arrested in connection with the incident of sexually abusing an underage girl. In news overseas, Thailand's plan to fully reopen in doubt as virus cases spike. In sports news, Japan declares a coronavirus state of emergency. With that, we conclude this bulletin of news from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.